What's up, homies, and welcome back. So today we're actually gonna be discussing the opposite side of the video that I uploaded yesterday, aka according to yesterday's video, I believe that esports should not be considered as real sports because they do not attract the same amount of viewership, they do not require the same skills, and more than that, they are unrelatable. Actually, today we're gonna be doing the exact opposite. I'm gonna try to explain you guys why, according to my personal point of view, esports should be considered as important, as relevant, as respected, if not even more than real sports are nowadays. We're gonna start from the basic concept. Yesterday I said that basically esports are not considered as real sports because according to the definition of a sport in the US dictionary, a sport needs to include the term of physical and athletic in the description of the sport itself. Well, here I'm gonna actually rebuttal my own statement saying that, well, darts and snooker don't really contain the words physical and athletic in their description, yet they're considered under the sport category, the real sport category. So why should snooker and darts be considered as real sports while esports are not? Going on, there was actually a study that was made on the difference between esports players and real life, professional athletes, and they brought it down to the fact that on both sides there are three core characteristics. Esports players and professional athletes both needs to take into consideration these three core characteristics, which are strategy, reaction time, and fitness. You see, while on the real sports side of the argument, the core characteristics are placed in the following way, aka fitness, reaction time, and strategy. On the esports side of the argument of the community, they are placed in the following order, aka strategy, reaction time, and fitness. And of course, these are placed in order of relevance, aka the first one that I mentioned was the most important one. In real sports, the most important characteristic that needs to be taken into consideration on whether or not an athlete is actually good enough to perform and win over certain matches or games is the fact that he or she needs to be fit, needs to be able to have a body that is gonna allow her or him to actually perform up to the level of the tournament or the particular game, which is not really that relevant on the esports side of the community because, yeah, the general concept of having a healthy mind and having a healthy body is broadly appreciated and accepted within the community itself, but you don't really need to have a six-pack in order to win a League of Legends game. In fact, in that case, the most important characteristics is actually strategy. Strategy is a lot more relevant on the esports side of the argument than there is on the real life sports side of the argument. In fact, if you watch a tennis game, there is not really that much strategy involved. I mean, in the end, you need to have a really good body that allows you to perform properly according to the tournament and having the knowledge of understanding how to actually hit the ball in order for the ball to actually go over the net and score a point. Meanwhile, on the esports side of the argument, esports give a lot more relevance into strategy. In fact, an esport player, whenever he actually clicks one of his keys on his keyboard or controller, needs to actually think of every single different scenario this may cause, every single different outcome, every single different variable. Because without taking into consideration these particular aspects of the game itself, aka the different scenarios, different outcomes, and different variables, then it just becomes impulsive and there would not be the crazy, fascinating side of the game itself. The last characteristic that was found that was really similar between the two arguments was actually the reaction time. And it was actually proven that the reaction time of a pro esport player is actually a lot lower, aka a lot faster than the reaction time of a professional athlete. Aka apparently an esport pro player is actually able to perform more than 300 actions in a minute. Whether it is by pressing certain buttons on his controller or whether it is by pressing certain keys on his keyboard, the esport pro player actually performs a lot faster than the real life professional athlete. Finally, to quote-unquote conclude the entire argument, since I mentioned the mono side of the entire real sport versus esport argument, I'm gonna actually rebuttal my own statement saying that while, as I said yesterday, the esports community attracts a completely different audience than real sport community, this is not excluding that esports is actually generating a buttload of revenue. aka in 2014 there were more than 205 million viewers according to Newzo, which is a company that conducts market research for the computer game industry, that were actually watching the League of Legends World Championship. And according to the stats that were actually obtained by this Newzo company, the 32 million online viewers of the 2013 League of Legends World Championship actually attracted more than double of baseball's World Series and even trumping the Game 7 of the basketball's NBA finals for the same years. which is just to state that esports, yeah, sure, they might not achieve the same level of revenue as real sports do, let's say just because of the Super Bowl. Still, esports revenue is actually expected to grow from 130 million that was in 2012 to 465 million that will be in 2017. Which of course, these are just random data, random facts that will all be linked down there in the description below. But there is still the question, are esports real sports? Should they be considered the same? Or are they something completely different, and for that reason they should be judged as different? Maybe the entire concept is that esports are not meant to be considered as real sports. Maybe the fact that the reason why esports have grown so far and have grown so much in the past couple of years is the fact that they actually are trying to distinguish themselves from real sports. They have a completely new audience, and for that reason a completely new market. If you have any different ideas of what I just said, what I said in the previous video, please be sure to type it down in the comment section below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about the entire debate, and I'm really interested to hear what you guys think of the debate itself, if you actually agree or disagree, if you have different opinions, and what those opinions might be. Hope you all enjoyed, hope you all had a beautiful day, and yeah, bye bye.